going to spend a little time talking about the total lunar eclipse on July 27th and 28th of 2018. And it's special because it is also a blood moon. We had a blood moon there in January as well. What really changes this one up is that it's going to be the longest total lunar eclipse of the 21st century. That is what they say, and that's according to those reports. The totality lasting for 103 minutes. And so that is awesome. So for those of you who are in its path, hopefully you'll be out there and you can look at it and really, really totally enjoy this beautiful orange moon. Now, when we have lunar eclipses in astrology, it's all about closing certain doors to the past. This is where the universe helps us all to get rid of all unnecessary luggage and baggage, which is holding us down and back from where it is we want to aim, right? And we're all wanting to move forward in life. We all have our goals, and sometimes we can feel that things are dragging due to the surplus of unnecessary weight that we're carrying. So for that reason, we want to look at what we want to let go of. And the good news about this, so I don't want anybody to think, oh my God, people are going to split up. And even though that happens too, and if relationships do go awry at this time, do trust that it is intended to be so. Maybe you've been thinking about this for months on end, or maybe even years on end, but whenever there is a breakup, it is for the higher good of everybody involved, but for good relationships. And that's why I want to say, I don't want you guys to start freaking out thinking you're going to have a breakup, because anything that is good in your life will stay with you. All right? The universe will never take that away. So it's only those things that now is holding us back is what we want to, in a very beautiful way, be able to let go of. Do that with a lot of faith, a lot of trust, and be excited about all the new things that can come in. We had that solar eclipse earlier on in the month, which actually opened up new doors. And by getting all this out, you're now filling your new rooms with the action. And any kind of eclipse has the power of linger for a 6-month period, so it is super powerful. This lunar eclipse is in the sign of Aquarius. For those of you who have any of your planetary aspects there at 4 degrees are going to be directly hit by it. To accentuate this eclipse is its close proximity to Mars, only 1 degree away. So it's super powerful in and of itself. And then with the infusion of Mars's energy, which is feisty, right? But even though right now we do see that Mars is retrograde, so it may not be as feisty as it could have been, but the energy is still there. And in this area, the moon and Mars together is really getting our emotions really riveted up, right? So anything that needs to come up and out will come up and out here on the day and the eve of this full moon. Now, we can also make certain decisions, not saying that we need to act on them immediately, but we can come to make decisions which is really going to super propel us due to the energy of Mars. So there's no procrastination here. We're going to feel like little spiritual warriors, right? Now, the impact to make it even stronger is the opposition that it has there, of course, to the sun, and this is why the moon is eclipsed. The sun being there 4 degrees in Leo, and of course there's a lot of pride in Leo. So here we have the sun and Mars in opposition, right? We got the pride of Leo, and we got the detachment feeling that Aquarius can give us in our consciousness. We try to think outside of the box. We try to detach from those things that are really deep and heartfelt. But this is going to really propel you in with the action of the square that Uranus is having to near to the degree. It's a degree apart from both the sun and Mars, and Uranus can come with the unexpected. So what happens when we have Mars-Uranus square? Well, we could stump our toe. That kind of thing. Small little accidents can take place. Why? Because we might not be paying attention as we should. Right? So careful with that. Careful with any sharp objects as well, or any explosive objects, because Mars can be explosive too. and it could be sharp. Uranus can come out of the blue with a big bang of some sorts. Now, the market might even have a little dip on this day, and that is because Uranus is now in the sign of Taurus. Taurus rules money, it rules the market, and so forth. So we might see a major fluctuation this way or that taking place the day prior and the day after the eclipse. So we want to keep an eye on that as well. And of course, Uranus is also then square the sun. The sun is us. It's who we are. It's our essence. Now, Uranus will kind of jolt the box a little bit, so we can expect the unexpected surprises. We might be the ones to go out and surprise somebody else too. Who knows, right? So it could equally be that as well. So we got a lot of energy set up. Jupiter is now moving forward, which is great. It's still in the sign of Scorpio, 13 degrees. So any water signs now are feeling that they're being rejuvenated now with the energy of Jupiter being so generous, right? Expanding our visions and so forth. And Venus moving here in the sign of Virgo, nice and quietly. There isn't a whole lot going on with any transits to Venus, but Venus in Virgo really likes to think, and it will overthink, it will organize and so forth. So this is running now in the background, but I do want to mention Saturn in the midst of all of this, because Saturn, though retrograde, is in a good aspect to the sun. So I feel that these changes under this blood moon lunar eclipse is all for the good. It's giving you the grounding, the foundation, the bases in your life, where you can now start seeing that the aims, the goals that you have been working for over these last few months, some of you longer than that, is actually solid. In other words, you might have a very strong sense of conviction of where you're at, where you're heading, and what you want. Saturn will make sure that you can accomplish this. Saturn being retrograde too is asking you to kind of look to the past for past opportunities that might have shown itself earlier in the year that you weren't really having enough time to deal with. Sometimes we just let good opportunities come and go and just pass, right? So that could be one good thing, that we can get empowered by this eclipse. Saturn's also supporting the Mars and the lunar eclipse itself. So Saturn is in a good place. And I might want to mention too that Saturn is holding a transit that we astrologers call the finger of God. It's a 150-degree angle to the sun, which is very fortunate. It's empowering, it's structuring the essence of who we are. We might feel that very, very strongly. So our convictions, like I said, might take on a role that is super important to all of us at this time. We're going to have to take a stance. There's another aspect going on right here on the 27th, and that is Venus and Pluto. They are trine. That's 120 degrees apart. And Venus ruling love and also money, of course. And Pluto, which also rules passion and also great money or big money. So it is a day where those two come together. And so if we're looking at relationships, we could feel this passion. We're passionate about what we feel, what we desire, what we hope, and what we want to go for. If we're looking at money matters, well, this will be a passionate day of looking at it. But beware, anybody on the market. And that is that unexpected surprise that we could get, maybe from Uranus up there in Taurus. But it should all be good. So this is the short forecast that we have for the lunar eclipse. If you haven't listened to the solar eclipse yet, you can go to that now, and which will take place on July 12th or 13th, depending on where you live in the world, right? So listen, guys, till next time, take care. Give it a like and give it a share if you find this interesting. Wonderful to connect with you all.